My name is Kyle DeLong. I'm a 21-year-old junior at the University of Colorado studying international affairs. For two of my later high school years, my junior and senior year of high school, I lived in Colorado with a group of skiers as well as a head ski coach, training and competing and traveling for freestyle skiing, specifically slopestyle skiing. Slopestyle skiing is a sport where you're judged on your performance on a couple of rails and jumps as you ski down the hill. And so it's an individual sport that puts a lot of pressure on the individual athlete competing in a competition. So many of us have our very specific rituals and superstitions that we all follow before, during, and after competing. I think this kind of goes for anything, but I would always make sure the night before I had a contest that I was getting a good night's sleep, at least 8 hours of sleep, and then waking up to a good breakfast, because you don't want to compete on an empty stomach, obviously. From there, one of my very specific superstitions was, particularly in the year that the second year, which was definitely my best year of competing, I always wore the same pair of socks on contest day. They were a blue striped sock, and I wouldn't compete without wearing that sock. You get to registration and you go to practice, and I would always make sure that even if I wasn't having a good day or wasn't feeling the course, I'd always make sure that I got at least 5 practice runs in, if time allowed for that, and that I would at least do spins on all the jumps. A lot of times I was competing at contests where, especially when I was learning, I was competing at contests where the jumps were a lot larger than what I was used to and scarier. So I always made sure that I would do spins and tricks on them just to make myself more confident, as well as make the jumps less terrifying for me. But when it's time to compete, you got your music in and you're kind of just getting focused, you're visualizing your run in your head, your coach is probably there kind of hyping you up, and suddenly you're the next person. So my coach and I are both from Ohio, so I would always, right before I would drop, I would look at him and say, a common thing we say in Ohio is OH, and then someone responds IO. So I'd look at him, I'd go OH, and he'd give me a fist bump and say IO. And then I'd get ready to drop into my run. However, pretty much all of us are always listening to music when we drop into our runs. And so the year where I was competing very heavily and doing very well, I always listened to the exact same song when I did my run, and that song was Let It Go from Frozen, because it came out that year and it was catchy as wildfire. So eventually I get up to the starting gate and it's my turn to drop, and from there I have my own little set, and almost every skier does, of little things and superstitions that they gotta do before they drop in. So when I get up there, I pull my helmet back, take off my goggles, and just kind of make sure all my face masks and everything is exactly perfect the way I want it to be. So I get Frozen pumping through the iPod, and really start to get focused. So I'd ski onto the course and stop. From there I flip off all the snow from my skis, and I would whack my poles together 3 times. No more and no less than 3. So one of the superstitions that we all share in skiing is you never call last run, because on the last run of the day is when someone gets hurt, generally me. So instead of saying last run, we'll say things like, do you want to do 2 more and skip the last? Or let's go down to the base in 2-1. So that's something that we all take pretty seriously, and if someone says, I think this is going to be my last run, we heckle them and make them change their statement.